Here's a review for the best-selling luxury SUV for, gosh, what, 20 years now? This is the RX 450h Hybrid. Let's get into it. So for 20 years now, the RX has been the king of the luxury SUV segment. It is one of the best well-rounded luxury vehicles you can possibly purchase in today's market. And it always has been. This is just the most recent iteration of a super refined product by Lexus. What you're looking at is the 2020 refresh of this vehicle. It should look very similar to a 19 if you're familiar, or even a 16 through 19, we're all very similar. But this right here is the 2020 with a lot of extra improvements. The triple beam headlights, as you guys can see here in the front, this is only found typically in the luxury package, but it is a standalone option. It is stunning. And the daytime running lights, I see that they're flickering for you guys. Can't even tell they're on right now because the headlights are on. Now, when you turn the headlights off, that daytime running light looks much brighter in the daytime than it does the nighttime. And they do that for legal reasons. You can't have too much luminosity coming out of the front end. The grille here is definitely new for 2020. Big step up, in my opinion, from the 16 through 19 models. Much better grille pattern that you see similar with the UX, the new GX, and it has hints of the current NX in there as well. You see fog lights down here at the bottom, which is an option now. It is no longer standard on the vehicle, but you typically see it in high-end F-Sport models and of course luxury packages as well. The paint color you guys are looking at is nothing new for Lexus. This is Eminent White Pearl. It is beautiful. It's pearly white. There's not much else to say about it. But this vehicle looks sharper than ever from all angles. These new 20-inch wheels are beautiful. They're only found on the luxury package. You can also find the 20-inch wheels or a variant of the 20-inch wheels on the premium package as well. But these wheels are a big step up compared to last year's or even the 2016 luxury package wheels. These look much, much better. From the side, the vehicle looks pretty much identical to a 16 to 19 besides the wheels. And of course, you can see the fog lights that are a little bit lower down than your typical fourth generation RX. And then we come to the back here. There really aren't any changes except for one. These rear tail lights are unique to any RX, any 2020 RX that has the optional triple beam LED headlights. You also get these new revised rear tail lamps that look super sharp. They're beautiful. They look much more like the current LS and the current ES. Compared to the non-triple beam RX, these look definitely more premium, definitely more upscale. Of course, being a hybrid, you have the blue badge here. And then just stepping back, you can see the RX 450h emblem right down there, and it looks great. They've also revised the rear bumper in all of the 2020 models. Of course, you're not going to see any rear exhausts, or at least any exhaust enclosures or exhaust tips on the bumper, but down below, it's under there. I can see it, but it's kind of hard for you guys to see that. Let's see what I can do. You guys can see that maybe? Maybe not. But looking at this Eminent White Pearl in the shade, still looks super sharp. It is a beautiful, beautiful color, and probably the most popular color here in the Midwest, other than maybe our Atomic Silver. And even in the shade, these new luxury wheels look super sharp. Underneath the hood of the 2020 RX Hybrid is unchanged really from 16 through 19. This produces 308 horsepower. It's going to get you around 30 miles per gallon. Now, it's pretty cold in winter time, and driving this thing, I've noticed that the engine, the gasoline engine kicks on a lot more often compared to the warmer months. So your mileage will definitely go down in the wintertime, but that's true for all electric vehicles, whether it's a hybrid or fully electric. This motor is super smooth. You can probably hear it running just a little bit as I'm filming it because it is on, but on the inside, it's really small difference between when it's on and off in terms of vibration and noise. They've done an amazing job insulating this motor and making it as smooth as possible. On the inside of the 2020 RX, the biggest change you guys will notice is that this big touchscreen, it's now a touchscreen, it wasn't before, is a nice little improvement. Essentially use it just like any tablet. I prefer not to use it as a touchscreen as a driver. It's gonna be much better operated as a driver with this touchpad. For passengers, I think the touchscreen makes a lot of sense just to give you guys some options with this new screen. This is the new Generation 11 software for Lexus, and it allows you guys to be able to plug in your phones a lot better. So you have Android Auto capability for the first time in a Lexus, and then of course you have Apple CarPlay for the first time in the RX. But it is a big selling feature for the vehicle. Going down below, some additional new features is a cell phone holder. And what kind of trim are we looking at? Well, this is called sapele wood with aluminum. You see it on the doors as well. It is only found in the luxury package. And this is the only trim option for you in the luxury package. There are trims, of course, different trims available in lower packages, such as a premium package. Additionally, there are paddle shifters standard on the RX for 2020. I don't really get why they include it in the hybrid since this doesn't have a traditional transmission with gears. But I will talk about one of the features on this car, which is a heads-up display. It is phenomenal in this vehicle. You can change the position all in this little menu here. Engages info. You can choose it to be blank, but your blank still has some options. And I hope you guys can see this. I know it's hard, but you still see P for park, 0 for 0 miles an hour, and then you have a compass. So that is your default. And if I pick something else, let's say the hybrid system, it's going to show you your charge, your eco, and your power modes. If I click driving support, I can choose what kind of things pop up on this heads-up display. So turn-by-turn navigation, driving assist, you can turn the compass off. Look at that. So your radio will pop up there. Your parking sensors pop up there. Your miles per hour, of course, and then your speed limit, and if you're going over the speed limit. You can also now twist it if you want. So if I show you guys here, it just twists ever so slightly. I can see it a lot better with the naked eye than you guys probably can on the screen, but it is a nice feature that I don't recall ever seeing in another Lexus. So probably the best heads-up display outside the LS 500 here in the RX for Lexus. The heads-up display on the ES is not nearly as good in my opinion. It's okay. In the corner, you'll see a little tag that says Mark Levinson. This is option with the Mark Levinson sound system. Another feature that we see on many luxury builds and packages is this panoramic sunroof, which lets in a ton of light here in the cabin. And that's what I like it for, especially in these winter months where we don't get that much sunlight. It allows us to just get a little bit more closer to the warmth. Also behind my phone there, you're going to see quick charging ports. That is new. This vehicle has a total of 6 USB quick charging ports now, so that's really nice. This touchpad is also new. Before was the mouse that some people like. I don't like the mouse personally. I find this a lot easier to use and a lot snappier to integrate with your navigation screen and things like Apple CarPlay. Inside here are additional charging ports as well as a 12 volt. Now this is always confusing on a Lexus. Some Lexuses have this button for your pop out gas lid. The NX, for example, you just press the gas lid and it opens. This one still has a traditional button. Heads up display, simple on and off. Your hatch, you have to hold that down for a couple seconds. Heated steering wheel, automatic high beams, and then of course your panoramic camera system, which I'll show you guys real quick. If I put it into reverse, it's going to show you a backup as well as the top down. And if I put it into drive here, you have to press this button in drive if you want the cameras to show up. So I press that and it gives you the front view as well as the top down. You can select it on auto. I find that very, very distracting if you put it on auto, because every time you come to a stop, it gives you this exact camera view. It takes away your navigation, your CarPlay, things like that. I prefer not to auto, but some people, maybe you feel safer if it cuts to the screen every time you come to a stop. Now, the only new feature here in the back seat for the RX for 2020 are these quick charging ports, which couldn't have come at a better time. I guess earlier would have been better, but it's better late than never to have these quick charging ports for your rear passengers. Everything else back here is about the same. You're going to have rear sunshades in this luxury package. That is standard. Another thing that this will have, being that it's a luxury package, is that it'll have leg extenders for the front passenger, driver and passenger seats. But what other features, if you're not familiar, these seats recline very well. They also fold flat. You have this nice armrest here that's very high quality. Press this button, there's your cup holders, and you can open this for some additional storage. I'm 6'1". There is tons of leg room back here. That's never an issue on the RX unless you're pushing maybe 6'7", and the person in front of you is about as tall as well. But for me, it's 6'1", and the seat is set up for me at 6'1" as well. It is super comfortable with plenty of leg room. Road trips would be zero issue for you as you travel with tall people. This is my favorite way to sit in the back of the RX. No joke, this is super comfortable. I just lounge, I can even recline. Legs crossed, no big deal. I'm gonna take a nap. Before we get too far, I just wanna thank Lexus of Omaha for providing this vehicle. Their link will be in the description below, where you can find upfront pricing for RXs, but all Lexus vehicles, and also the pre-owned inventory. So how does this drive compared to, let's say, the 19 RX? Well, it's almost identical. They have made some changes to the suspension and things like that, but really you'd be hard pressed to notice any differences unless you drive them back to back, or let's say maybe you own both of them and you know exactly how they drive. Now, I drive these vehicles quite a bit. This doesn't feel any different than a 19, really. Where this vehicle shines and is of course all the upgraded, of course, safety features, because this has Lexus Safety System Plus 2.0, so that adds things like lane tracing and road sign assist, nighttime pedestrian detection, that's a tough one to say, bicyclist detection. So safety features are better, but the main draw to this, guys, and this is irregardless of whether it's a luxury package or not, all of them, or even a navigation package or not, all of them have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto functionality. That is a huge, huge draw, and what a lot of RX owners have been waiting for many, many years. And they didn't need to change much to this vehicle. It was already so well-rounded. It is what a lot of people want as it is, but just small refinements, and that is just intrinsic to Lexus's Kaizen mentality, the continual improvement. This is just a hair better than the 2019 RX. And the fact that you're getting these small but very super integral experiences through the software updates, the price increase is not anything that is substantial. It's very, very minuscule, a couple $100. Now let's talk about the hybrid in itself. Why would you get the hybrid over the standard version? It costs a little bit more, usually about $1,500 more. Well, for 2020, Lexus and Toyota, for that matter, increased their hybrid battery warranty from 8 years to 10 years and 100,000 miles to 150,000 miles. So if you were like, you know, I'm not really sold on the technology, I like the idea of the gas mileage, but you know, maybe it's, you know, I'm not as sure on that battery thing. Well, rest assured now that is not an issue, because you're covered for 150,000 miles in 10 years. That is insane. But why else would you get this vehicle over the standard RX? Well, it's quieter. There's no doubt about that. It's smoother. Is it as fast 0 to 60? Maybe a hair slower because it's heavier, but no one's going to be drag racing these things anyways. It's going to have more than enough power for your daily commute and your normal day-to-day driving. And this does have more power than your standard RX. 308 horsepower compared to 295 horsepower. But that's what, you know, about 10 more horsepower, not a big deal. But where does this thing shine? Is the responsiveness, the smoothness, and the quietness of this vehicle. It is a lot more responsive. Even though they made improvements on that 8-speed transmission for 2020, it's a lot more responsive. Still, if I just lay into the gas a little bit, there's hardly any hesitation and it just goes. It does exactly what you want it to. It's very, very responsive, similar to the 6-speed transmissions that we see in Lexus vehicles such as the GS 350 all-wheel drive and the GX 460 6-speeds. I'm on one of the smoothest roads in Omaha right now, guys. This thing is riding like complete butter. What you would expect if you're driving anywhere in the South, this thing is going to feel like you're on a cloud. Right now I'm cruising just a hair over 40 miles an hour. The gasoline motor can turn off even if you're going around 40, 45 miles an hour. And when that happens, you're essentially getting infinite fuel economy, which is really nice. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's really cool that it does that, turns the engine off. And that's not unique to this vehicle, but it's kind of unique to the segment. There aren't that many hybrids in this segment, and no one does it better than Lexus. Comfort, Lexus is known for comfort. This RX is no exception. I could sit in this vehicle for a day straight and be perfectly fine. The seats are, of course, of the highest quality. Now, something that's different for the 2020s is you cannot get the leather, the semi-aniline leather, unless you get the luxury package. All other packages are going to have the New Lux, which is Lexus's synthetic material that they use for their seats. You're really not going to be able to tell the difference unless it's years down the road, and the New Lux holds up actually better. It doesn't wear quite as heavily as the semi-aniline leather does. Is it as premium feeling? I can't tell the difference. So if you're worried about not having leather on your, let's say, your premium package RX, it'll be perfectly fine. I assure you, most of you won't even know that it's not leather. But yeah, me just cruising around 40 miles per hour here in town, no joke, I'm getting over 43 miles per gallon. And that's where this thing is going to shine if you have a commute that has a little stop and go. On the highway is where you get your diminishing returns with this vehicle. You'll get 28 miles per gallon on the highway on this vehicle, compared to its non-hybrid counterpart will get you around 26. So just a smidgen better on the highway. In town is where this will shine. So if you have a lot of in-town commuting and you would like to save a little bit on gas mileage, this is the better choice. However, Lexus does recommend premium in the hybrid. I have heard people being they've owned many Lexus hybrids and they put regular in it. Don't blame that on me if I said I'm not saying that you should put regular in it, but I don't think it's going to hurt the system at all. But just know that it's not what the manufacturer recommends. But premium is what they recommend for the hybrid, and regular is what they recommend for the non-hybrid. So even though you're getting better fuel economy, maybe that gas is a little bit more expensive. So who would this vehicle be for? Well, the average age of this vehicle purchasers is probably around 50, 60 miles per hour, 50 to 60 years old. And there is not a lot of space in here for more than 5 people. 5 people is where this vehicle caps out unless you get the RXL, but even then the space is fairly limited for that third row. So if you don't have any kids, or you would occasionally put grandkids in this vehicle, and you're looking for something that's reliable, comfortable, fuel efficient, luxurious, premium feeling, this vehicle's hard to beat. It's the best in the segment. It has been for so long now. You can't go wrong with an RX. It just does everything so well. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's efficient, it's powerful enough. The interior materials are second to none in the segment. They're arguably the best. They hold up better than anyone else. The looks, now that the vehicle looks even better for 2020, that's a nice little step up if you were on the edge. And then of course the updated software features for 2020, including Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This vehicle really doesn't have any weaknesses. Would it be nice to have some extra power? You know, we really haven't had a power upgrade since 2016. Yes, it would be nice. Is it necessary? No. Would some people like a plug-in hybrid option? Absolutely. I think that's the next step, as Toyota just unveiled the RAV4 Prime, which is a plug-in hybrid with 40 miles of range. This thing is going to be a prime candidate for that, probably in the next redesign. The fact that we just got a refresh means we won't get a redesign on this for at least till maybe model year 2023 at the earliest. But I have nothing else to say about this vehicle. It is a winning formula for Lexus and for the brand. Special thanks again to Lexus of Omaha for allowing me to demo this vehicle and share it with you guys. I'll see you in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button for more Lexus reviews and more just Toyota and Lexus content in general. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until next time, peace out.